analysts. Thank you for joining me. My name is Craig. Welcome to the Daily Craig Football Show. Sunday, October 2nd, 10:30 in the morning. We got football going on right now. We've got the Vikings and the Saints. The Saints are without a lot of players today. It's 7-7 in the second quarter. They're over in London enjoying a little bit of the game over at Tottenham Stadium. The Saints are without Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, famous Jameis, but they're hanging around. I don't trust the Vikings, or I would have picked them big, but the Saints are missing so many players. It's a close game. I think that really wears them down at the end, and I think somehow the Vikings get the job done. Over in England, I think I don't trust Kirk Cousins at all, but I love Justin Jefferson. I love Adam Thielen. I love Dalvin Cook. But the quarterback situation stinks. So we'll see if the Vikings do, in fact, pull it off at the end. But right now, tie ball game, and we'll see what happens as they are progressing through the game. It's still early, second quarter. So we'll see what happens there. The first game we're going to get to today is the Cleveland Brown Atlanta Falcons game in Atlanta. 2-1 Cleveland, 1-2 Atlanta. 1 o'clock tip off or kickoff, whichever you prefer. Last week, the Browns beat Pittsburgh 29-17 on Thursday Night Football. The Falcons went to Seattle and got a 27-23 win. The Browns lead the all-time series 12-3. The Browns have won the last two. They are kind of primed to win this game, aren't they? Jacoby Brissett has played well. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have played awesome. Amari Cooper has played pretty decent. Njoku has played really good. Myles Garrett will not be playing today due to his accident, and thankfully he is okay. That was a nasty picture that we saw of his Porsche that was all wrecked, but he won't be playing today. The Falcons, Marcus Mariota has been fine. Cordell Patterson, the last thing I read was that he was going to play today, so we'll see what happens there. Kyle Pitts, 5 catches last week, led the team. The Falcons are just rebuilding, right? They're just trying to figure out who is a long-term solution, who is not. Marcus Mariota is fine. He'll win him some games. He'll run around a little bit, but ultimately at the end of the day, Browns are 1.5-point favorites. I'll take the Browns. I thought it would be higher than that, but people are trying to not really trusting Jacoby Brissett. They did get a win last Thursday at Pittsburgh, so I think the Browns get the job done in Atlanta. Bills at Ravens is the big game. Both teams are 2-1. 1 o'clock tip-off. My gosh, it's the second time I've done that. 1 o'clock kickoff in Baltimore. The Bills lost last week on a heartbreaker to Miami, 21-19. The Ravens beat the Patriots 37-26. The Ravens lead the all-time series 6-3, and they've won the last 3 games. The Bills are going to be coming off that loss. They're going to be all shades of mad. I think they're going to be ready to play. They're 3-point favorites. Lamar Jackson's playing out of his mind. Josh Allen, a career-high 42 completions and passed for 400 yards. 2 touchdowns last week. Singletary had a career-high 9 catches, 91 scrimmage yards, which is a career high, and his 4th career touchdown catch. I think Dawson Knox, I think, is back today. Von Miller aims for his 3rd game in a row with a pass deflection. Like we said, Lamar Jackson became the 2nd player ever behind Randall Cunningham with 4 touchdown passes, 100 yards, and a rushing TD in a single game. J.K. Dobbins had his season debut last week, 40 scrimmage yards. Sounds like he is getting more workload. Mark Andrews led the team with 8 catches and 89 yards and 2 reception touchdowns last week. I think that this is going to be a very, very close game, but I think that the talent from the Bills pays off at the end. I think that they get the job done in Baltimore. I think they go to 3-1. I think Baltimore goes to 2-2. I don't think it's time to panic or anything with Baltimore. They played some tough games, but I think that Lamar keeps it close. I think that Josh Allen does. I think he just has more weapons at the end of the day, and I think that they not only win, but I think they cover the 3-point spread. I think they win and cover and move to 3-1 and kind of go back into a tie with Miami. Right? Miami lost, so they can kind of they lost the tiebreaker early, but anyway, I think the Bills get the job done in Baltimore. Washington at Dallas, 1-2 for the Commanders, 2-1 for the Cowboys. The Commanders lost at Philly last week, 24-8. Cowboys won at New York on Monday Night Football, 23-16. The Cowboys lead the all-time series, 75-45. They've won the last two. 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox. You got the A-team of Burkhardt, Olsen, and Aaron Andrews. Cooper Rush became the first undrafted quarterback to win each of his first 3 starts and passed for 750 yards in those starts. Aims for his 4th start in a row with a touchdown pass. I think the Cowboys run the ball with Zeke, run the ball with Pollard. I think CeeDee Lamb, he's kind of one of those, when he catches it, he's awesome, but he's had some issues with the hands here lately. I think Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, I think that those guys are going to be way too much, and they're going to put way too much pressure on Carson Wentz. And being a Colts fan, I don't trust Carson Wentz. I think that they've got some great talent around him, but I think he will keep it close. But I think at the end of the day, Carson Wentz is going to go Carson Wentz. I think the Cowboys do get the job done. It is a 3-point favorite at home. I take that all day. I think they're going to win big. I really do. It may be a close game up until halftime, but I ultimately really do think that the Cowboys kind of run away with it. I really do. I think that they're the better team, and I think that they are going to get the win. Seahawks 1-2 at Detroit 1-2. A really interesting game, 1 o'clock kickoff in Detroit. Last week, the Seahawks lost to the Falcons 27-23. The Lions had heartbreak at the very end as they lost to Minnesota 28-24. The Seahawks lead the all-time series 10-5. They've won the last 3. This is a 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox. Do you trust Geno Smith? He's played kind of okay. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett definitely have to get more involved. Lockett had 9 catches with 76 yards last week. Rashard Penny rushed for 66 yards. Jared Goff passed for 277, that season high last week. They just need to finish the game. I think Aiden Hutchinson, I think that defensive up front is going to get after Geno Smith, but their secondary is not good, and they're going to let up a lot of yards to the Seahawks. So the question is, can they keep up through the day? And I do think that they can. I think that they're going to bounce back today. They're 3.5-point favorites at home. I take the Lions. I don't trust the Seahawks defense. I don't trust the Lions back end, but I think their front 4 is going to get after Geno Smith, and I think that's going to be the difference. I think they're going to put them in long distances in 2nd and 3rd down. I think they're going to dominate the line of scrimmage on 1st and 2nd, and I think that the Lions get the job done at home against the Seahawks. The next game, we've got the Chargers at the Texans. The Chargers are 1-2. Texans are 0-2-1. 1 o'clock kickoff down in Houston. The Chargers lost to Jacksonville 38-10 last week. Houston lost to Chicago 23-10. Chargers lead the all-time series 5-3. They've won the last 2. This is going to be an awful game. Terrible game. The Chargers, you got to get some people healthy. You got to get, they're 5.5-point favorites. I think they're going to absolutely demolish Houston. Justin Herbert hopefully is going to continue to get healthy. Keenan Allen had career high in receiving yards, 183. Khalil Mack had a sack, forced fumble his last game against Houston. Their defense has got to step up. Asante Samuel Jr. had a pass deflection in 8 consecutive games. The injuries and the just kind of stuck in the mud last week for LA will not happen this week. Davis Mills was fine. Damian Pierce is really what they've got on offense. Their defense is not very good. That opening weekend tie was, I think, a fluke. I don't think that they're good at all. I think they're destined to have the number 1 draft pick. So I think the Chargers go in. I think they're pissed off. 1-2, they can't afford to screw around with this game. They've got to get back to 500. They got to get a win and keep it moving. So I think the Chargers plus the where are they at? What did I say they were? 5.5? 3.5? No. Yeah, 5.5 point favorites. I take them all day. I think they're going to cover and win pretty big. Titans and Colts. This is a big one. Titans are 1-2. Colts are 1-1. Uh, I don't know. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get from my Colts. You think that you're going to get some good play because that's what they kind of look like here and there. I don't trust the Colts front to get after Ryan Tannehill, but I don't trust Ryan Tannehill. DeForest Buckner's not playing for the Colts. The Titans' offensive line has been beat up badly, so this is a big day for them to just hand the ball to Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill has not played well. He's kind of coming back to his normal self, so we'll see what happens there. Last week, the Titans did get a huge win against Vegas, 24-22. The Colts got a ginormous win against Kansas City, 20-17. I don't trust the Colts at all, but they lead the series 35-19. I guess I'll take them because I'm a homer, and that's my team, and I can never cheer against them. They're 3.5 point favorites at home, but my goodness, Colts have got to get a pass rush going. They've got to get after Tannehill. They've got to make him uncomfortable. Where they get beat are by teams that just turn around and hand their running back the ball for 5, 6, 7 yards, and then their quarterback can do play action, stand back there for 3 or 4 seconds. That can't happen. If that happens today, the Titans win big. The Colts' offense is too sporadic. Their offensive line is the highest paid offensive line in the NFL, and it has been awful. It had signs of life last week, but don't let that fool you. They still stunk. So I take the Colts. I think that they're going to win. I don't, 3.5, I would imagine they would cover that. I think they're going to win by a touchdown or so, but it's going to be a very, very close game. It's going to be a very frustrating game if you're a Colts fan, and even if you're a Titans fan. It's just going to be a really, really kind of just a weird game. We're going to see how the offensive lines hold up and see where we go from there. But I think the Colts to get the victory at home. Bears at Giants. Both teams are 2-1, amazingly. You would not have expected that earlier. In the season, the Giants are 3-point favorites. The Bears beat Houston 23-20 last week. Giants lost at home to Dallas 23-16. Just did not play well in the second half. Justin Fields has looked really good, but it's kind of him and nobody else. Their defense really did step up and play better last week. The Giants, Saquon Barkley, 126 yards. Kenny Galloway, is he playing? I mean, what's going on with him in that gigantic contract? So I take the Giants at home. They're 3-point favorites. I think that they get the job done. I don't trust the Bears. I think the Bears have just lucked into playing well at certain times. And I think today, I think the Giants come out. I think they run the ball. I think they take it out of Daniel Jones's hands, let him do some running as well, and really just kind of dominate that line of scrimmage. On the other end, it's really Justin Fields running around and hopefully making a play. Their receivers are not getting open. Their running backs are doing okay. I think Montgomery's hurt. I don't know if he's playing, but I still take the Giants to get the win at home. Here's a really interesting one for you. Now, Jacksonville at Philly. Philly's a 6.5 point favorite. Jacksonville's 2-1. Philly's 3-0. Last week, Jacksonville beat LA. Philly beat Washington. 1 o'clock kickoff. This is a CBS game. It's going to be a very, very, very interesting game to watch. Everybody here says, okay, are the Jags for real? If the Jags can go into Philly and win, then they're for real. If Philly wins, they're 4-0, really looking good in that division. And they have not, I don't want to say a surprise team, because I really thought that they'd be better this year. Adding A.J. Brown with Devontae Smith, I mean, come on, that's a deadly 1-2 combination, and Jalen Hurts is looking like an MVP candidate, and he's looking really, really good right now. So I think the Eagles get the job done. I said right when they hired Doug Peterson, I said, now the Jaguars have an adult head coach and kind of running things. It's going to be a dangerous team. You can't be in the top 5 of the draft for 30 years and not get some talent there. So Trevor Lawrence is playing really, really well. Travis Etienne is doing well. Christian Kirk, their big pickup, is actually doing pretty good here lately. Can their defense slow down Philly? I don't think that they can. I think that Philly wins. The big spread at 6.5. I think that they cover, and I think this is a week where Jacksonville kind of comes back to the pack, kind of come back to earth on who they really are. Jets 1-2 at Pittsburgh 1-2. The Jets lost to Cincinnati last week. Pittsburgh lost to Cleveland. This is a 1 o'clock kickoff. The Steelers lead the all-time series 18-6. 3.5 point favorite for the Steelers. Zach Wilson is supposed to play, so we'll see what happens there. That's got to help that offense. Joe Flacco in those 3 games was kind of bad, good, bad, kind of what you would expect out of a veteran with not much movement. At least Zach Wilson can move around a little bit. They got to get more from Michael Carter. They got to get more from Corey Davis. Even though Corey Davis has had a pretty good start to the year, they need more from him. C.J. Mosley led the team with 12 tackles last week. They're going to continue to need that from him, from the Jets. For the Steelers, I don't know. I love the Steelers. The offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, actually went to my high school, but every Steeler fan that I talk to says that their play calling is not good. Mitchell Trubisky is Mitchell Trubisky. He looks good. He looks bad. I'm a Carolina fan, and I don't trust him. I did not trust him for my Tar Heels, and I don't trust him in the league. They got to give the ball to Najee Harris more. They've got to just work on these tight ends more. their defense is not really getting anybody off the field. This is not your typical Steelers team. It's not. It's a year of transition. They've got to get Kenny Pickett in. Trubisky's not doing anything. I think he's doing okay, but 20 passes for 270 yards is not going to win many ball games for you when your defense can't really stop anybody. So I think Pittsburgh's got to get back to running the ball. They got to get their identity back. Run, then take a shot. Run, take a shot. Make sure you don't forget about those tight ends. And right now it's take a shot, run. It's kind of, everything's kind of all wacky. When they played Cleveland the first half, I felt like, okay, they look good. In the second half, they came out and just totally switched what they were doing. It was just kind of weird to me. But I think, where we at? Steelers are 3.5 point favorites. I don't know if I would take that. I almost think the Jets go in and get a win today. I really do. I think that they're going to be inspired with Wilson coming back. I think the Steelers don't know what they're doing. And in terms of the quarterback situation, I think they want Kenny Pickett, but I don't think that they want to force that. This may be the week that they get him in there. I could easily see this game where if they're struggling at halftime, they bring Pickett in and let him see what happens in the second half. If that's the case, I think the Steelers win. But if there's no Kenny Pickett, I think that the Jets get the win on the road. I think they cover the 3.5 points. A 4 o'clock tip-off. Gosh, I've said tip-off 3 times. 4 o'clock kickoff. Our first 4 o'clock game. We're talking about the Cardinals 1-2 at the Panthers 1-2. McCaffrey is of course questionable, like always. I feel like Cardinals. They lost to the Rams last week. The Panthers beat New Orleans in a huge win last week. Panthers lead the all-time series 12-4. I don't trust either one of these teams. I really don't. Cardinals are 1 point favorites. I take that just because they've got a better running game. They've got a better quarterback. I know we all love Baker Mayfield. He's all fun. It's watch him run around and everything like that. But he's fine. Just too inconsistent, right? Just too inconsistent. Everything, I just feel like their offense is not rolling. And I know that Christian McCaffrey is a huge part of that. He had 115 scrimmage yards last week, and that's a huge game and everything. But then is he going to play today? So I think Arizona goes on the road. I think that they are hopefully going to get things going. Last year, I didn't trust them through the year. I just don't trust them this year. I don't think that their defense is good enough to make a good run, but I think their defense is good enough today to put some pressure on Baker, make it really uncomfortable, especially if McCaffrey only has a limited role or doesn't play at all. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals to win in Carolina. Patriots at Packers. 1-2 Patriots, 2-1 Packers. No Mac Jones. Brian Hoyer is back. Patriots lost last week against Baltimore. Packers are won against Tampa Bay in a slugfest. 4:25 kickoff. 9.5 point favorites for the Packers. I take that all day. I think the Patriots are obviously struggling. Their franchise quarterback is now hurt. I think the Packers are going to run, and they're going to run some more. I think they're going to run over New England. I think New England could try to run the ball and stay close for a quarter or two, but I think this is Packers big. It's a Jim Nantz, Tony Romo game, so we're going to try to amp it up a little bit, but I think this is very, very lopsided. I think the Packers are rolling again. I think that week 1 loss was just a slow start, but I think the Packers, it's a 9.5 point favorite. I would double that. I think they're going to win by 2 to 3 touchdowns, probably 3 touchdowns. I think they're going to absolutely dominate this game, and I think the Packers win in a big, big way. Broncos at Raiders, 2-1 Broncos, 0-3 Raiders. Last week, the Broncos beat San Francisco. The Raiders lost to Tennessee. So we'll see what happens here. Russ is playing better. He's starting to cook a little bit. Their offense is still stuck in the mud, but their defense is doing a great job. Patrick Surtain, Kareem Jackson, that back half is doing a fantastic job for the Broncos. The Raiders have not got started yet. In fact, it got a little so iffy that the owner and the head coach, McDaniels, had to have a little closed-door meeting, so we'll see what happens with that. The Raiders are actually 2.5-point favorites, but I don't trust them at all. I don't trust the Broncos, but I think their defense gets the job done. I think that Russ does enough to go in there and get the win, and I think the Broncos take care of business and keep the Raiders winless, which is insane, right? I thought the Raiders were going to be really good this year. They got a really good team. Devontae Adams, he had his third receiving touchdown of the season last week, so he's really kind of the only one that's really going here. Josh Jacobs had 97 scrimmage yards. I just don't think that they are finishing games like they should be. I mean, Derek Carr's playing okay, but just their play calling is just all over the place. Chiefs at Buccaneers. That's our game tonight, Sunday Night Football. A nice game here, right? Chiefs 2-1, Bucs 2-1. Both coming off losses. The Chiefs lost to Indianapolis. The Bucs lost to Green Bay. Sunday Night Football, 7-6. The Buccaneers lead the all-time series. This is actually going to be played in Tampa. It was talked about moving it out because of the hurricane, but it is going to be in Tampa. We've got a 1.5-point favorite for the Bucs. I don't know. I kind of trust the Chiefs' offense more than the Bucs' offensive line. So I think the Chiefs go in and get the job done. I think Mahomes will have a big game. They just could never knock the Colts out last week. They just hung around. Personal foul kept the Colts in the game. Actually kept the winning drive alive. Their defense has got to play better against Brady. They've got to pressure him. They pressured Matt Ryan a lot, but they just didn't really move him off his spot. You got to move Brady off his spot. And that offensive line for the Bucs is beat up. So I think the Chiefs do get the job done. I think it's close. I do think it's, what was that spread we just talked about? 1.5. I think that's realistic. I think it's going to be really close. I think the Chiefs kick a field goal late to win the game, and they go to 3-1. The loser of this is going to be 2-2, and kind of not in trouble, but if you start looking at the conference rankings, it's going to be really iffy. You know, if you're looking at that. It's not going to put them out of the division at all. I mean, they're going to be still right in the middle of the division. But the winner really has a good chance to move up in the conference standings. The loser, it's going to be a long road to come back. But anyway, so I think the Chiefs do get the job done in Kansas City. So today we went with the Vikings. We'll see how that game's going. We went with the Browns. We went with the Bills. We went with the Cowboys. We went with the Lions. Chargers, Colts, I guess, Giants, Eagles, Jets. I think the Jets win. Cardinals, Packers, big, and then the Broncos and the Chiefs. So anyway, hopefully you enjoy your Sunday NFL slate of games. It's going to be a really fun day. We're going to see if the Jacksonville Jaguars are real. Who's going to take the stranglehold on the AFC South, Colts or Titans? Brady versus Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers versus Belichick, and we're going to have ourselves a fun Sunday. So hopefully you enjoy some football. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you later.